right, good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is well on this evening. I'm gonna do a quick story time, a quick dream infiltration story time. This happened last week. So I used to date this guy right here in the city. And when I met, I've talked about him before, but anyway, when I met him, he was really pitiful. Okay, he was just a pitiful dude. Just life hadn't been no motherfucking crystal stair for him. All right. Um, he was squatting in a house that, well, he grew up in the house, but wasn't no lights, wasn't shit. Okay, he was just in the house. He refused to leave the house. All right. I think for years he told me they was rigging up how people know how to rig the electricity and all that kind of stuff, and the company figured it out and they came to shut that shit down after a while. But anyway, he just looked really pitiful. Okay, he didn't have no money at the time. His children were kind of taking. Well, this is a story he told me. Shit, you don't ever know what's the truth. But okay, uh, children taken out of his life. Okay, barely. He hardly had any money. Okay, alcoholic. Okay, but I love this little ass. Okay, I thought he was a very smart person. I just felt like at the time, just shit. Just circumstances of life fucked him up, but I didn't care. Okay. Um, so I met him at the theater. He worked at this theater, and that's my background, theater. Okay. So I decided to go back to the theater and to get involved in whatnot, and I did, and then I met him. So I became more of, now this was back then, okay? I was probably about maybe 38 when I met him. So after I did a couple plays there, and then I became more interested in being supportive of him. He was the what did he do? Stage design? No, not the designer. He built this. He built this the sets. He was a set builder, and it was only two guys in there, his boss and him. Okay, but anyway, he showed me quite a bit. Because sometimes they would be behind schedule. I would go back there and help him out, or he'd be there all night building the sets because it was on a time crunch. At least that's what he told me. Where he was. I don't know where the fuck he was, but that's what he told me. So I would do things like cooking food and take big old pots of spaghetti, cake, and shit like that. Take the shit there to him and whatnot. And he just when I met him, he just looked like a little lost puppy dog. You know what I'm saying? Just like he had just been abandoned by life. Okay. Met his family. I really, really loved his family. Oh my God. I had so much fun with them. I used to tell him, like, if we ever broke up, I would miss his family more than I missed him. Okay. But anyway, I don't have anything negative to say about his family. Okay. Um, I enjoyed, they would have cookouts and shit all the time. They were fun. They were funny. I really liked being around them. Matter of fact, his family owned I think it was his grandfather that owned a food truck here where they sold barbecue. I wasn't, which was, come to find out, was very well known. Denzel Washington came to the city and had to go to that food truck. I didn't know anything about it because during those years, I wasn't living here in the city. So by the time he told me about it, I was like, I had never heard of it, but during that time period, I wasn't here. I was in college and away and other places. All right, but anyway, so you know how it goes. When I met him, he was telling me how sorry his life was and everything, and how people at the theater didn't really pay him any attention. Okay, he would speak, they wouldn't speak back, that type of shit. Okay, and you know how people do. When you look down and out, they just look over you. Then he gets a girlfriend, and you know how that shit goes. And a girlfriend who was kind to him, nice to him, doing things for him. As a matter of fact, one lady commented, I've never seen him smile this much in all the years that I've known him. Okay? So you know how that goes. Once a man. What I heard a guy say today. I was watching a video today, and I don't remember the video that I was watching, but he said that sometimes what women tend to do is they like to go after men who are already with someone. These women who find value in their humanity by having to have a man on their arms. I don't understand that, but hey, whatever. Okay. But that man's value goes up in their eyes. And then he was looking happy too. And then, women get into this thing where they have to be so competitive with, I take your man, that shit, and have to be so competitive with another woman, who's not really, well, I wasn't thinking about none of that type of shit. So I knew there were times that he was fooling around and whatnot, but I never said anything to him about it, because what's done in the dark will always come to the light. There was no, I didn't have any proof. I just knew, and I didn't bring it up. I didn't say, nobody came to me there, I seen him with such. It wasn't anything like that, I just knew. And I said, well, this is so interesting how no one was paying him any attention. They could have threw him away like trash for all they was, concerned. Until now there's someone showing him some care and kindness and affection. Okay? Which I felt he needed, but I didn't do it because I felt he needed it. I did it because I genuinely cared for him. Met his friends, some of his buddies in his neighborhood and all of that type of thing. Okay, I thought they were cool peeps, you know. His background was a lot, I didn't come from no rough background, okay, but he did. All right, and he was kind to me. Um, he didn't always have, he never had no money, you know what I'm saying? But when he did get paid and the child support came out of his check, he didn't hardly have anything. But every time he got paid, he would take me to a movie and take me to get like some chicken wings or some shit like that. Okay, that's financially, that's all he could do. But I really wasn't into that. You gotta buy me this, gotta buy, whatever. I liked him, and I saw a lot of potential in him. I thought that his work was great. Now I know nothing about building sets. I know I did see a play after we broke up, and I looked at that set. I said, well, it's for damn sure he didn't build that motherfucker, cause that shit was a fucking wreck. Okay, compared to the work that I saw him do. But anyway, um, that was just my opinion at the time. I didn't have any. I don't have any kind of professional, to say one way or the other, just visually, okay? And actually, it might be in his blood because his mother was the first black female, or just female, period, construction worker, I believe, in the area, something like that. Possibly, I don't know about the state, but definitely the area. So it might have just, been in his blood or whatever. But anyway, okay. So you know how it goes. And now the women, want to be, then he wanted to do some acting, which he would do. He would narrate the plays that, called for narration. He'd be on stage narrating plays. He wanted to do some acting. So, I was trying to push him and encourage him. And their play came up, and one of the director or whatever, the theater director, I believe that's what he was, told him that he wanted him to audition, which is basically saying you got to roll, but you just got to go through the fucking process, like a job or whatever. Somebody tell you to apply, that means goddamn you got the job. You just got to go through the process of applying. You got to do what everybody else do, okay? But it's gonna be yours. Okay, but he was scared to do it. I'm trying to push him, and he was scared and scared and scared. And me and someone else was, I think his supervisor was trying to tell him to go to the audition. And I think finally the theater director, if that was his position, I can't remember, um, almost kind of forced him to go, if I remember correctly. So he got in the play, started doing plays, started getting these accolades, started getting all kind of, write-ups for his quote-unquote great acting in the paper, that type of thing. Okay, so the head swole. Okay, his head swole. And then here come the women in his face, And I was like, okay, here we go. And then all of a sudden, there was just a change. A change has come over me. So he changed. And I saw the train wreck coming. Okay, but I tried to deal with it. You know, maybe it won't be. You know how you play mind games with yourself. Maybe it won't be what I'm saying coming, but it was. So there was a point in time where we stopped talking because he was acting like he lost his fucking mind. Okay, matter of fact, I can't remember what point it was, but I looked at him one day and just looked like, I'm like, there's a confirmation. There's like a demonic energy. There's a demon there. His face had morphed completely into something else. He became his mannerisms and whatnot toward me became violent. So at one point we stopped talking, and then we started talking again. You know, that back and forth shit. So a woman came into play, and a particular person who I felt, I don't know, I just from observation, and I said, okay, he fucking this woman right here. Okay. He claimed he didn't, but some things he shared with me, I'm like, well, if you ain't straight up having intercourse, there's obviously sexual interaction between the two of you. Well, that this was happening, you know, when we wasn't talking, blah blah blah. Yes, but it's continuing on, motherfucker. You understand what I'm saying? It's continuing, goddamn. And you know, it's just I don't have any interest. If that's what you want to do, then go be free and do. I don't understand. How come when people want to when they want to do that type of shit, they're in a relationship, but they decide that they want to go be with Joe, Sam, and John, or Betty, Cherise, and Monica, and them. How come they don't just leave the relationship and go do that? Why do they feel the need to stay in a relationship? Because the motherfucker one day called me like 19 times. I wasn't answering, but called me 19 times. Okay. And I'm like, okay, I'm about to deal with a fucking stalker. Okay. So, of course, on the 19th time, I answered the phone. Huge mistake. But the phone would have been ringing all night long. I mean, I could have just turned it off on silent or whatever. Okay. But anyway, so the situation, anyway, became violent, where he put his hands on me. And I went and got the motherfucking restraining. But I'm not going back and forth with no goddamn body. Okay? If that's what you want to do, if you want to be a part of that world, I mean, because it looked like, I don't know what he had gotten himself, to this day I don't know what he got himself involved with. I told the woman who raised me how he was acting and everything. First thing she says to me, like she would say about everybody, every time somebody start acting strange, and I would tell her about it, she would say, well, Nikki, you know, are they on drugs? So she's like, is he on drugs? I was like, I don't know, he acting like it. Shit, you know, I don't know what the fuck his problem is. Okay? But go be free. Go live in the wild, goddamn, okay? Go on out there in them streets and just have you a ball, be happy. I'm not interested, okay? But people don't sometimes people just, they don't, I don't understand, they just can't accept that you're not interested, and they're determined that they want to bring hell and ruin and damnation to your life. No, thank you, motherfucker. Go do what the fuck you want to do with who the fuck you want to do it with, and be free. Have fun. Okay, enjoy yourself. Okay, because this looks like something that you want to pursue. And I mean it with every ounce of my motherfucking being. This looks like something that you want to pursue. It looked like the girl, you know, I don't know, tell me, like, I don't know if she's, my lady who raised me, she thought she was a prostitute. I was like, well, I don't know. I saw some sketchy folk at the theater. One of them is in the car looking at me, all kind of crazy motherfucker. I don't know you, motherfucker. Okay? You know, why are you trying to pull me and drag me and bring me into your bullshit? Okay? You know, so it was a night that they had a show, and he was working on a show. I don't know, was he in the show? I don't know if he was in it or if he was just working on it. I can't remember. But that night it was crazy. I was waiting for him. Of course, he didn't have no goddamn car. Okay, so I was waiting for him, to pick him up or whatever. The girl passes me, and I'm like, okay, and got to singing "One Monkey Don't Stop No Show." I think that was the name of the show, actually. But she was trying to let me know, bitch. Okay, okay. You understand what I'm saying? I don't want to stop your fucking show. I just don't want to be in your fucking show. Okay. I don't know why people have that shit confused. Okay. But nevertheless, um, and so then there's these cars out there. I'd never seen beautiful cars. Okay, with niggas in them. And the one man was in the car looking at real sketchy, looking at me real hard. Okay, like he had a piece of a bullet for my eye. I don't even know what the fuck is this shit. Okay, and I looked at him. As soon as I looked at him real good, he turned his head. Next thing I know, my dude coming up, walking up behind me, and like he was about to do something to me. And I looked back at him, and this is when it's like his face had completely morphed into something else. And I'm thinking to myself, this nigga don't even know what I'm looking at right here. That he just looked like straight up demon. Okay, I'm fucking monsters. Like monsters, pissies, balls. Okay, but I'm not talking about monsters, pissies, balls. Okay. But anyway, but he is affiliated with all of this shit. But anyway, so needless to say, I probably was scared that night because the nigga was in the car. Did he come home? Did he get in the car? I can't remember. Or did I leave? I can't remember because he was just looking too crazy. You know, I said, this motherfucker done got caught up with this woman, and this woman looked like she do street shit. You know what I'm saying? And if that's what you do, that's what you do. You know what I'm saying? Again, now for the people that are watching, okay, who do these types of things, why do you insist on pulling a person in who's telling you, I don't want to be a part of that? Or why do you insist on staying in a relationship with someone if that is, the world that you want to live in? That's something new, and that's the world you want to live in. And the person that you're with is telling you, I don't want to be part of that shit. Go ahead, go live freely. Go do what the fuck you want to do. Why? What's the insist? Why? Okay, I'm just really, I don't have the comments open, and they won't be. But I'm just curious. Why? If somebody tell you, motherfucker, go, then go. So one motherfucking morning, nevertheless, it was a Sunday morning. I got up. I said, I'm gonna go to church this morning, but the time had changed, and I hadn't realized it. Well, things didn't go well. I was like, we need to talk. Nevertheless, he ended up putting his hands on me, threw me out of my motherfucking house, okay, my grandparents' house, and locked the door. Of course, I called the goddamn police. They came. He left when he heard me on the phone with the police. Of course, then the motherfucker leaves. I'm gonna beat your ass. But when the men come, I'm gonna run for the motherfucking hills. And you goddamn right, I called the motherfucking police. I had one girl tell me, bleeding woman, I can't believe you did that. Bitch, why can't you believe I did that? What was I supposed to do? Let him kick my ass? And just have free reign over my house? I have a daughter here. I know some people ain't into protecting their children and all that kind of shit. I am. And self-preservation. I don't give a fuck if I was with this motherfucker 30 goddamn years. Okay. Now it's time for us to part ways. We have a different view of what life should be for ourselves. Now we have to be intelligent beings and part ways. I don't give a fuck what nobody thinks. Okay? Okay. Now, I was so funny when I went to court. The first time we went, he had some bullshit excuse, and the law lady, whatever she was, she laughed and was like, "It's ridiculous. He's just trying to pull it off." Of course he is. So then when we went back, of course he didn't show up, and the judge was just like, "When did the abuse begin?" And the bitch was confused by the goddamn question. I was like, "What do you mean?" I didn't say that. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, "What do you mean? When did the abuse begin?" And I was like, "That day, And he was like, "That day, the person I thought was my cousin, he had been a retired police officer who played a role in all of this shit with the whole gang of the family and the weird ass people here, stalking me and trying to eat at my energy and kill me and all of that type of shit. He played his role too, okay? And the lady who lived next door to me, well, she was my tenant. Okay, we had a side by side duplex. She went to and she played her role too. Ain't no need nobody saying no, she did. Yes, she did. Okay, but anyway, they both went with me, and I'm gonna say my cousin because I'm used to saying that. He said to me, he gave you he asked you the question because most of the times it's people don't do what you did, in terms of that being the first time or whatever. And the judge was like, bitch, this is not just for him, but this is for your motherfucking ass too. If you go near him, you're gonna get trouble. Shit, motherfucker, you ain't gotta worry. I've been trying to tell the nigga to go on and be free. Okay. But this woman, now honestly, I do not know this woman. I don't know from Adam. All I can do is go by observation and by the fact that when she entered the picture, then this motherfucker his mind went ballistically crazy. Okay. I don't know what line of bullshit she was selling him, but he was buying it. All right. And, anyway, I would see her at the theater. This was before all of that happened with me and him, in terms of, uh, uh, him putting his hands on me, having to go to court, blah, blah. I would see her around and she would speak to me. But the way she spoke to me, okay, was weird. She would do, hi. I'd say hi and not walk away. Now, some people think that when I don't like a person and they speak to me, I don't speak. I do speak. Like the one lady said that I knew from work who was involved in it as well. Even a dog wag his fucking tail. I'm not a fucking dog. But if you speak, I will speak. Now, if I don't like you, I'm not going to speak to you. What am I going to speak to you for? I don't like you. But I know those are the games that people play. And she did that about 3 times, and I just would be like, hi. Just like that, hi. And I kept going because it's like, bitch, I see you, and bitch, I know that I see you. You know? I don't know what you are looking for. I don't know what you want with me. Apparently, that's what you want over there, or you want to get him involved in your world and realm, or whatever that shit is y'all got going on, okay? Y'all got niggas out there in the parking lot looking at me like they want to put some steel in my fucking ass. I don't know nothing about none of y'all, none of this shit, okay? But see, this whole shit with this gang stalking shit, these people been after me and the money or whatever and we gonna kill them. This shit could have been going on back then, and I didn't know, okay? So, I don't know. To this day, I don't know, okay? So, nevertheless, there's another person with a big fucking mouth who I blocked. I saw your motherfucking ass at the drugstore, and I spoke to you. Okay, but anyway, you talk too fucking much. Okay, I see this nigga. I met this motherfucker when I was like 17. I didn't even remember when I saw him. No, I was like 20 or 22 or some shit like that at the goddamn theater. I won't even go near that motherfucker now. Well, I didn't go for years because I had the restraining order and he worked there. So I didn't go. I went one time to a show, but it was a show, okay? But other than that, I know one girl, she was in acting. She was like, well, I can give you the information. Cleveland is this fucking big. Everybody know everybody in this bitch. She's like, well, when I hear about stuff going on for auditions they want me to, no, absolutely not. I don't give a fuck. And she wasn't talking about just at theater. She was talking about in general. And they've been doing like major motion pictures here. At least some scenes for extras and shit like that. I mean, they had something on one of them. I don't know, was it BET? One of them movies with Jill Scott and shit. They came here and filmed or whatever. No, I don't want no shit. I don't want to see not Nam one of those people. Not Nam one. Because what people do is they smile in your face. There was one lady who played she was a musician. And I met her there. And she was having some singing voice lessons for one of the plays that was coming up. So I took some voice lessons. But she had known him a long time, and so I was talking to her about him, but this was before that incident. She went and told after the incident some people that I know that she didn't know that I knew that I've been knowing all my life. She went and told him that I let him beat up on me before. Bitch, I never told you that. With your old bitch ass. And I mean what the fuck I say. But I just learned, okay, this is the shit people do. They lie, they make up all type of shit, and I never told you that. Because he didn't do that. And I ain't staying with no motherfucker that's going to put his hands on me. And then hug and say, I love you. Well, now for those of you who have been in them situations, that's what you do, that's what you do. It's no commentary on you. I'm talking about me. I'm not going to do that. I don't have no motherfucking interest in being with no big old burly dude. And he wasn't big and burly, but men have more muscle mass. And he gonna strike me. Bitch, I wouldn't give a fuck if he didn't. And you gonna strike me or put your hands on me or choke me and slam doors on me and all of that type of shit. When I picked your ass up out of the gutter, nobody cared about. You even talk about my family don't even love me. Okay. All right. It seems like I said in the other video, they don't ask for much. Sex and food. That's it. I don't give a fuck who they get it from. Okay. But anyway, I don't have anything against men. I whatever. Okay, people, it's just human nature. Men act like this, women act like this. It's just human nature. These are the things that people do. But anyway, and I don't give a fuck how old your motherfucking ass is. You're a fucking liar and a gossiper. And one of them church going women's talking about, I don't do zodiac signs. No, but you gossip and lie. That's what you do. When I went over the scripture the other day, it didn't say nothing about God hate the people who in the zodiac, but it sure did say God hates a liar. But anyway, this girl, so she's very attractive, at least by pictures. Okay. When I would see her in the theater, I didn't really look at her in terms of how she looked necessarily. I was more so focusing and realizing the game that she was playing. I don't know to this day. I don't know if she wanted him or she wanted me or she was using him to get at me. I don't know. Okay. But you'd be surprised how many people know you and talk about you. And I don't mean negatively. I mean just period. And you may think that, don't nobody know who you are, and ain't nobody pay no attention to you, but they do. Okay? And especially if you're not into that type of thing, like, I'm not really into that. People are people, as far as I'm concerned. And I told you the other video, I went to school with people who were children of A-listers. Okay, and saw them on campus. Hey, how you doing? Talk to them, all of that type of thing. All right. And I didn't shit in my panties or pee on myself when I saw them. Because people are people, as far as I'm concerned. That's how I look at it. Okay. So I damn sure ain't gonna get excited. But people make these assumptions that they know who you are, or that you automatically think like them, and they don't even take the time to think, oh, they think like me. No, they just are in some zone in their brain that you look at the world the way they do. I of course I did that. I still do sometimes. Okay, Lady raised me used to tell me not everybody sees the world the way that you do. And it's like, okay, I had to learn that. But anyway, so this motherfucker that I knew since I was 20 went and told her everything that I was telling him concerning the situation. And she said this about you, and she said that about. And then I saw him a few months back at the grocery store. He talking about some people think I'm messy. Nigga, you are messy. That's some messy ass shit. And then I did a live one night. I think I was doing a one card draw, and here they were trolling me. Now this girl was writing was, well, I want to say she was brave enough. She was brave enough she was the only one who was brave enough to put up her real name. But it's dumb enough to do it. And that's how I knew it was them. I said, okay, here they go. Now, I'm not saying it was the guy that I dated. Okay, no, just the messy motherfucker. Okay, people who say that people tell him he's messy, they're telling you the fucking truth. You ain't had no business doing that. But again, these are the things that people do. I don't know. Maybe he was looking for me and her to fight. I'm not gonna fight this one. Why would I fight her? Okay, that I don't do shit like that. Okay, bitch, do what the fuck you want to do. Goddamn, take him. Goddamn. Okay, and she probably wrapped it through, put him in the ball and threw him in the garbage can. Psh, done what you not with. Okay, got what I wanted. Because some people just get off on that, taking what you have, or taking what they think that you have. Okay, that gives them a fucking thrill. Okay. So back then, I used to check her out on Facebook and Instagram. She do these comedy shorts and whatnot, and some of them were, pretty funny. Okay, I thought she was very attractive young woman, beautiful body. I'm saying from what I saw on the app. I have not been around this woman in real time, besides those few times I saw her at the theater. Very stylish. Okay, I didn't think she was the brightest in the book. I saw her in an audition one time, and the guy, the director, couldn't stop looking at her from the waist down. He was sitting there with his mouth hanging open, looking at her from the waist down on time. I want to tell him, close, you're drooling. You look like motherfucking Homer fucking Simpson, goddamn, okay? But anyway, and I could have said that to him, because I, would talk to him and laugh with him sometimes, okay? But anyway, like sometimes when you're auditioning and they give you a script, okay? They give you a few minutes to read over that motherfucker, what they want you to read. Now, when you read, and if they don't, if it's just flat code, it's like here, you read it, but it's like just regular reading. If you skip over a line, you realize, okay, I must have skipped because this doesn't make sense. I skipped over a whole line. I was reading one thought and didn't finish out the thought, and now I'm into something different 2 lines down. It's like she didn't realize that, and I was just like, okay, she don't even realize and the motherfucker was too busy looking at her from the waist down, goddamn. He couldn't even stop to tell her you done missed you done missed like 1 or 2 lines. But anyway. So I saw this woman. I'm trying to think, did I have one of my mushroom journeys where I saw her, or just one of my astral realm experiences? Back then I didn't know what to call that shit. Okay, I can't remember which one it was, but I think it was one of the astral realm experiences, like a dream. I saw her and her sister, and a lot of the pictures that I've seen of them, that I would see back then on Instagram and stuff, were like parties. And that's just, I'm not in that world, okay? And shit, I felt like I partied enough when I was in college, okay? Although I still like to go out and dance and stuff, okay? But anyway, she came to me. We had a very friendly energy with each other. Now, she might have been doing that dream infiltration shit back then, and that was the time where I didn't know nothing about that shit, what it was called or anything. And she said to me, it's like when I saw her, there was a really like this real super duper friendly energy between the two of us. Like we had been knowing each other like for aeons, okay? Or some people would say eons. Her and her sister. And there was a couple other people that I can't remember, but I do remember seeing them in the pictures on Instagram back then. And it was like, hey, like we knew each other. And she said to me, she said, I had to get him away from you. And she said, you're not supposed to be with him. He's no good for you. And I had to get him away from you. And I was like, well, woke up like, well, look at there. And at the time, my thinking was, wow, you don't know who, sometimes we don't know who anyone is. We don't know who people are. She, maybe I know this girl out there, you know what I'm saying? Maybe we good friends or some shit like that, And she worked. She did work here for me to remove him out of my energy. She said he's no good for you. And I had to get him away from you. Now, she probably watching this or gonna watch it. And she'll probably say, huh? You know. Because I'm talking about the higher self, our spiritual self. Okay, maybe even the soul self. Okay. So anyway, I would have dreams about her periodically. Same scene at some goddamn party. My sister would be with her and a few other people. I think she has quite a few. Well, I ain't gonna say like she got huge, but there are a number of siblings. It's always the same feel, always the same energy. Okay, except for one time there was something that was quite questionable, and that needed to be eradicated, and it was. Cleveland is small. Goddamn, they say the whole fucking world is small. What is 6 degrees of separation or some shit like that? This motherfucker, you just feel like it's just like, give us free. Give us free, goddamn. Okay? Because no matter where you go, especially when it comes to the black folk, in some way, shape, or form, you're going to know somebody they know, they going to blah, 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 okay? Even when I get clients, it's like, yeah, they probably know somebody in the group too, or maybe somebody in the group sent their motherfucking ass. I just go ahead and do the work. You understand what I'm saying? And just keep on going. Especially they're not very smart how they move and how they maneuver. They do the same things over, and it's the same thing, and they've been doing the same shit over and over again, year after year after year. They just do the same shit. The same shit. And when they do it, when they send a new person, they do the same shit. And that's one way I know, okay, this is somebody, they're part of the group, or they know someone who's a part of the group who has solicited them to come and stalk and harass me. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe it's that full moon shit. I don't know. I don't keep up with the moon cycles or anything. So anyway, last week she visited me again. This girl's got a beautiful smile. I was on it was like a bus, like a train, more like a bus. I can't really describe it. And you know how you have a dream and there are people in the dream that while you're dreaming, you know exactly who it is, but then you wake up and it's like you can't pinpoint, was it such and such and such. So there were a few women in the dream on this bus. There was one particular person that was with me who in the dream, I knew exactly who it was. When I woke up, I couldn't remember who it was, but somebody that I know. But her energy was different. We all had on the color like teal, okay? dressed what y'all would say is very feminine, because this whole thing with soft feminine and blah 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 by some European standard of some man who wants to control women, and people fall for it. That'll be another video. But anyway, at one point, the person that I was with, me and her, and it wasn't you, Scruffy, okay? Scruffy the baboon. It was not you. Thank God. But the girl that I was with, somebody that I knew, I held dear, okay? So we walked around. It was like the bus was, well, shaped like a bus, but it wasn't really long. It was more, it wasn't as long as most buses are, it was shorter. And there were seats there were seats on the perimeter and in the middle aisle. And we were walking around the middle aisle. Not, it wasn't an aisle where the seats were in the middle, some seats in the middle. And she went to sit down. And we had on these, everyone had on these teal, just beautifully dressed, but the color was teal. That was the thing. Everybody had on that same exact color. Somehow I became the leader. And there was a knock on the door of the bus. And I opened it, and it was her. This girl, this beautiful woman that I'm telling you about. And she looked at me. She had on red lipstick. And she looked, and she did the same thing she did back then. She said, she did it, she said, hi. Or something like that, okay? I can't do it. Hi, you know. And I looked at her, I said, hey. I said, come on in. And she said, oh no, maybe I shouldn't. That type of thing. And stepped away. I said, come on in here. And she came in. And I said, have a seat here with all the beautiful ladies. All of us beautiful ladies. That's what I said. And she went and had a seat. I had a bag of like, I don't know, chips, popcorn, or whatever the fuck. I picked it up, and it was the same color, the same teal color. And then, just like that, it turned a pink color. I want to say rose, but you know, rose is typically red. But sometimes when they label something as rose a color, it may not be red. It might be kind of a pinkish color, okay? But not like this bright, stark pink. It was like that. And I said, oh no. I don't know why, okay? I said, oh no, I got to get it back to the teal. And on the bag, I saw a big 2. It said 2G, like for 2 grams of something. I don't know what it was, though. And then I woke up. So I said, well, she came on her own, okay? And I don't know why she came. I don't know what she was looking for. She wasn't with the group, though I know that she's probably part of the group. Because it's the same folk. It's the same. They've been hanging with each other ever since they was in their early 20s or whatever. And they still marching along in their 40s. Okay? Probably was doing the same shit to people back then that they've been attempting to do to me. And that's just the end of that. I don't know if she came. I mean, she did. I know she came on her own. I don't know if she was supposed to come on her own. But she did. Okay? I don't think anybody sent her. Whatever I don't think that I'll ever see you in life. I might. You know what I'm saying? But I will give you your props. Like I said, you was the only one who was brave enough to put your actual name. Even if it was, I don't know, I kind of picture everybody looking at you in the room like that was dumb. Why you do that? You know what I'm saying? But you were brave enough to put your own name. You also came to me and you said I had to get him away from you. He was not the person for you. He was no good for you. You know? And I felt it since it was sincere energy. Okay? So, I kind of prayed about it and talked about, like, what do I do with her? What do I do with this? You know what I'm saying? And that's the end of that. But I don't think you should come back. Okay. I saw your sister. Was it last week or the week before last? At the Dollar General, she was standing right behind me in line. I looked her right in her face, and this young woman here has a twin, but their hair is different. I like, she don't even know who I am, which is a good thing. Nothing against her. I'm just saying because of the group shit. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if she's a part of it or not. Okay, but you damn sure. But I keep hearing that, and I swear I hope I'm not making no mistakes when I say this. Whatever it means, I'm hearing she's welcome in. And I just heard welcome home. There you go. So I don't know what that means. I kind of have a feeling I know, but I'm not 1,000% sure. Okay. Maybe you know, but I did hear she's welcome in and welcome home. Okay. So I hope that means something positive for you. Okay. Despite the bullshit. Okay. You have not, well, you did come in and troll, but that ain't no fucking big deal. You have not done anything as far as, you got him away from me. You came to me not long after the situation and said, like that's what you were supposed to do. And you did it. And thank you for that. Okay. Um, because he just was not ready to elevate himself. I don't know where he is now. I don't care where he is now. He became a part of the shit himself. Okay, a dirty motherfucker. And so you saying that to me, he was not the. You showed me that. You proved that to me. All right. But anyway, let me see. So okay. So another thing. This is separate from that. So I was listening to a reader maybe last week or early, what's today? Thursday. It might have been early this week. And when I was listening to her reading, she was talking about a scientist, right? It was a good reading, but part of me was like, "Oh, that's some bullshit. That's some bullshit." But it was a good reading. But that night, she was talking about a scientist studying a person who is a spiritualist, a psychic, okay? And I was just like, she making that some bullshit, okay? Because she got those index cards, okay, that you can just write shit on there and whatever, make it come out. That night, I'm going to sleep. It's always when I'm trying to fucking rest. I felt and saw a very strange energy. And I heard, in my ear, I heard, return to sender. But it was like I was being told to say return to sender. And I was like, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, well, who the fuck is this? And I'm only saying that to say, and then I thought about her. I said, well, she wasn't lying. She wasn't bullshitting. Okay? Her read was on point. I said, this doesn't sound like some kind of scientist type shit. It doesn't even the freaky imagery that I saw and felt. It didn't even feel like organic. Okay? So when people send you these energies, these negative energies and whatnot, okay, or their evil eye projections and all that kind of shit, you feel it, and however you feel it, and you may say, okay, return to sender, or whatever you do, okay. But it was like the way it was said to me, it was like the person was telling me, okay, now return it to sender. Like they was sitting, watching, and studying. So, you know how they say that sometimes, like, I don't know, the good government, whatever, okay? I only say good government because somebody said that one time about when I first got my job, when I used to work for child support. They was like, No, 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 no. That wasn't it. That wasn't it. There was a friend of mine. And when I lived in Atlanta, this lady, she was, she was talking about how her husband made her leave Atlanta. I mean, made her move to Atlanta from California. And she was saying he made me quit my good government job. Okay, so every time I say government, I say good government because of that. But anyway, we'll have these energy weapons and these weapons and blah 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 that they send to people, and they send me these thought forms and all of this kind of stuff. I can't say for everyone, okay? Because I used to hear that shit and be like, well, if a person is psychic or intuitive, how will they mix up, messages, or maybe they think they're psychic or intuitive, and maybe it's these weapons that they're sending and all of this. Just in that one experience I had alone, just that one, it was just like, even like I said, the energy that they sent, the vision it wasn't organic. It wasn't the same. It's like AI. When you see AI, the imagery and whatnot, you can look at it and tell, okay, it may, if you don't look at it, but for a quick second, it may look real. But then something about it will catch your eye, and you'll look and be like, oh, that's not real, that's AI. It was like that. Okay? Not just what I saw visually, but what I felt. It's just like, it wasn't, again, it wasn't natural. Okay? It wasn't in a pure natural form. It was like it was some kind of uh, mechanism type thing, something sent, you know, um, from that type of source. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. And then the voice telling me, now do this, you know. And it's just like, I didn't, because it's like, this shit ain't even real. It's not pure, it's not organic. It's some bullshit. Okay. So I was just wanting to say that for people who may pay attention to what it feels like. Just like you would look at something that's AI, pay attention to what it looks like. Pay attention to what it feels like. If it does not feel organic, okay, then you know that it's not from an organic pure source. It's some man-made shit, okay? And then him telling me return to sender. But anyway, that's the end of that. All right. I hope you all have a wonderful night. Everybody have favor. Peace.